if you're looking for a younger woman, this is not something we promote on this channel, but I get enough comments of, oh, I want a 20, 30, 40-year-old. Well, if that's what you really want, you better pay attention right now.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. Once again, I am very happy to welcome back Robert Manni. Robert, thank you for joining me again.
My pleasure, Silka. Hello there, everybody.
Robert, of course, I know you've seen him here by now, but he is the author of the Guys Guide to Love, the host of Guys Guy Radio, and now his new YouTube channel, Guys TV, which we'll link to. So, Robert, again, thank you for joining me for another discussion that I think is going to be kind of fun. We'll do, think of it as a little PSA to men today.
They need more than that. They need a documentary and multi-series.
Well, I came across this really, what I thought was just a funny article, again, doing research on these dating topics and what people Google. And one of the big things for men and women, but today it's focused on men, is, this online dating thing, especially when you're, back on the dating scene at 50, the world has changed a lot. And there was this article that a young woman wrote, and she titled it, "The Biggest Mistakes Older Men Make on Dating Apps." So I thought, well, this is interesting. Well, she's a very funny young woman in her mid-20s. She's been dating a long time. And apparently a lot of older men hit on her, so she got really interested in seeing, because some of the things she calls out she just thought was just really like, ooh, that's old. So I'm wondering if, how does this really apply? Does this apply to you if you're in dating apps? The first, Robert, is, and this was interesting. She said the things that you shouldn't do that so many men do, and this is usually attributed to women, is lying about your age.
Well, let's put it all into context. This is a younger woman, so let's say figuratively, let's say she's 27, something like that. And she's talking about guys who are like late 40s, 50s, whatever. So when we age, everybody ages a little bit differently. There are people that we both know who are in their mid-50s and they look great. There are people we know in their mid-50s, they look horrible. I have noticed from my experience in online dating that everybody tries to put themselves in a reasonable bucket. Let's say you're 52, you look great. You say you're in your late 40s or whatever. Women do it. Women I've dated have done it. As long as when they show up, they look good. I don't really care, personally. I know you want to be honest about the age and you want to be exact, but there is, as you age, there is some type of elasticity in terms of not everyone is the same. So I think if we all expect, be reasonable. You can't knock off 10 years or whatever, and you can't add 4 inches to your height, and you can't shave 30 pounds off your gut, because eventually you're going to get in front of the person. But if you're 52 and you say I'm 49 or something, to me, not a big deal. For her, big deal. I totally get it.
Yeah. It's an interesting topic because it does put you in that lying category. She writes here, it's funny that if a woman who doesn't want to date a man over a certain age definitely doesn't want to date a man over a certain age who is a liar. and that is true. What I did, though, in doing even more research on this, I kind of Googled men lying about age, and it's like all over. And again, this is usually attributed to women. So I think what I got out of this is that men do this a lot more often, maybe not more often, but just as often as women do, when we're usually the ones that get, blamed for that. So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we have a way of measuring that, but I would say people are people, and I'm sure it's equal on both sides. I'm not condoning it, but I understand it. But if it's a year or two and the person looks great for their age and they take really good care of themselves, who cares, in my opinion? But that's just me. I understand where she's coming from. She's 27. She's in a different life stage, and it's easy for her to say, you're old and a liar. And she's right. But you know what? It ain't a perfect world. So.
That's funny. Another one is the selfies. Yeah, selfies, and she makes a big point that selfies should just never even really be on a dating site. I agree with her. She said, selfies make it look like you're a weird loner who doesn't know anyone in the world willing to take a simple photo of you. And I kind of agree with that. What do you think about
Well,
selfies?
well, I think it's the bigger issue is, do you have nice photos? And I know another one of her points is make sure you have enough photos to tell a story. Maybe show yourself playing a sport if you're into sports, or you're active and you're outdoors with some other people, something that articulates visually your interests. It's easy to say, your selfies suck, so don't do it. And again, this is somebody who's 27, and they're pros. That you see all the stuff that's posted on Instagram and TikTok and whatever. It's like everybody's a little mini movie producer, film producer now, and there's some amazing photos. So I get it. So she's basically saying, put your best foot forward, your best face forward if you're going to put something on your dating profile, because sometimes the selfies look really bad. And in that situation, I totally agree with her. But I don't think we should be condemning on that. We should be like, okay, I don't think you need a professional photographer to have somebody take a nice picture of you, because if you're good enough looking and energy wise, and somebody can capture your energy, a friend or whatever, with a photo, with a good level, high level iPhone or whatever, that should do it.
No,
And maybe take some
absolutely.
shots also.
No, see, I absolutely disagree. I mean, not disagree with you because I don't be necessarily promoting it. Don't hire a professional photographer. That to me is almost as bad as a selfie. Again, that's maybe more my view, but that means again that you don't. Yeah, you're posturing now. I mean, I'd rather see, what you're doing with the selfie. Not that I
Right.
want to see selfies, than that you were postured and posed professionally. So,
Right.
as a matter of fact, I'm going to link to there's photofeeler.com. Another guest, Jonathan Noble, brought that to my attention. He did that when he was online dating, where you can actually submit photos that you think are good of yourself, and people will rate you. It's all free. And it might tell
Good
you a
luck.
lot what people think, and you can make some
Right.
decisions based on that. Here's one that absolutely is.
That's for all of us who have no friends, right?
Well, no, I mean, the photo feeler thing is, friends sometimes don't give you the best feedback. This is like, if you want honest feedback about your photos from people that you don't know, I don't know, it's worth checking out. They do it for both professional photos, not necessarily dating, but also for online dating. What do your photos say about you? So I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
The using weird pet names. I guess older guys, you know what they do, and that bugged the crap out of me when I was online. The old "Hey baby," or here, what is she's like, "Hey baby, hey beautiful," or just it's just kind of creepy, and I didn't like that at all. Why do guys do that?
I guess they're very comfortable in themselves that they use those terms, but it's a little bit condescending. It's a little bit. I'm not going to say it's misogynistic, because I don't think that's the intention, but it shows a lack of understanding how to communicate with a woman. So I would agree with that 1,000%. If you're together with somebody and you might have a little pet name around the house after you're a real couple, um, hey, snuggle bunny or whatever it is, cool. But, you develop that organically on your own when you're in a relationship. But if it's somebody new, it's not hey, baby, or hey, beautiful. You have to have more of an imagination and skill in terms of being articulate when you're communicating online initially, to connect with a woman. So why do guys do that? I don't know if it's laziness, or they're not thinking twice about it, and they think it's cool, and they're thinking, hey, I called her beautiful. What's wrong with that?
I think it does come across as misogynistic. I do. And I think that I don't know, if I'm right or wrong, I'm not necessarily saying that, but I'm saying that that's certainly how I perceived it. And it was interesting for me as somebody from the younger generation that she noticed this over and over again.
Wait a minute. I can't call you sugar dumplings anymore then?
Well, Robert, that's different. We know each other already. We have an established relationship. Oh, God. Okay, so the last two, and this I found just so funny because it's absolutely nothing I would ever think of. And this is incidentally for those men, if you're looking for a younger woman, this is not something we promote on this channel, but I get enough comments of, oh, I want a 20, 30, 40-year-old. Well, if that's what you really want, you better pay attention right now. Robert, dissing astrology. Like it or not, astrology is in right now.
Well, I think that's a individual preference. I wouldn't diss it because if it's something you're not into, just don't talk about it or don't really respond to it. But if somebody that you're going to be dating wants to know what sign you are, you just tell them, and then they let them sort it out. But again, I think she's correct in that you shouldn't be dissing something that maybe you're not interested in. It's not about, Trump or COVID or this or that. It's not a contentious type of topic. It's like what your sign is. So I would say, don't diss it. I agree, but it's not that big a deal.
I just thought that was so funny that that's an observation. I'd love to hear what you think about that. Does anybody have this experience? Does astrology really enter into this? I don't know. Certainly not for me. And then the last one, and this just had me literally laughing out loud. LOL. Emojis. That she says emojis have a tendency to go in and out of style. Absolutely, but that older guys or older people period just don't understand what's in and what's out. So apparently knowing your emojis is critical these days. And I learned that my favorite emoji, laughing out loud with the tears, and then the one rolling on the ground laughing out loud, that is just out.
Oh, that's out. Okay. So you want my response on emojis, or should I just give you an emoji? That would
No,
be
I
great
mean,
for listening.
does anybody our age think about that? Apparently, older men and she's seen this a lot, use incorrect emojis.
Right. Well, it's like anything else. If you're going to be a little bit out of sync with, if you're in your 50s and you're dating somebody in their 20s, you'll know the Beatles, but they're going to know who the latest K-pop group is, BTS or something. So anyhow, you're going to have some differences there. It's just cultural stuff. So if you're not comfortable with emojis, don't use them. If you want to get into them, start with thumbs up or the little sun with the sunglasses on. Keep it simple because you don't want to be wrong because the younger person will say they'll catch you on it every time that like what a nerd, they don't get it. So I would be very careful with my emojis. I rarely use them because I'm like, well, what if I send the one with the hearts with the eyes? Does that mean that I'm flirting with the person? Or how do I be happy? And is the blue thumb up different than the hand thumbs up? And
Well, again, I read this and I was, as I said, laughing out loud. I wanted to use that emoji right out. I might on the show notes. I love my crying, laughing emoji. It says exactly how I feel most of the time. But that has to surface. It's just I just thought it was really interesting, Robert. And
it's another in my opinion, Silka. Sorry to talk over you. Forgive me. It shouldn't be a deal breaker. These are picayune things that are technically, I think this person is correct, but you have to say, all right, these are the most important aspects to dating somebody of a different generation.
you know what the biggest
Now,
takeaway from you was on this? It's really the mindset that if you're thinking you're going to date somebody younger, do you really want to be up to this kind of scrutiny? Is that somebody that you ultimately want to be with? But I'll let you close.
well, let's flip it around. If you're 27 and the guy's 55 and he's a billionaire, you going to care about his emojis?
Of course not. But that's
Exactly.
you made the point that I wasn't going to go there. But yeah, that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Right. So it's like you have other more important aspects to a relationship. And I think the bottom line is let's not try to find things that are wrong. Let's try to find things that are right with the other person and find some common ground, particularly if there's an age difference that you need to find common ground. And that usually is value based. So I would urge everybody the number one qualifier should be, does this potential partner share similar values about people, family, friends, money, love, whatever, honesty, as I do? And if you start there and there's a lot of common ground, well, then anything can happen. Chemistry, we have no control over, and you're eventually going to meet the person in person, and then who knows? All bets are off. It could be like, great, and it could be like, oh my God, and that's just life, and that's fun, though. So if you look at it that way.
I agree. I thought this was a fun segment. Again, I think there's more. It's actually a bit deeper what she writes and what is on the surface. It's very funny. I'll link to the article. Robert, thank you. We will link, of course, as always, to all of your information. Do check out Robert's YouTube channel, and we will see you next time on Second Act TV.
Thanks so much.
If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube. When you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. We'll notify you every time we start a new video. See you next time.